Hello, everyone.
Happy Friday, folks. Hard to believe that it's the end of August and that Labor Day weekend is upon us.
It really is.
Yeah.
It feels like fall has begun maybe here in Omaha. We had a nice weather this week. It was a little cooler. Of course, that could be fake fall.
Yes, it is. I'm quite certain of it.
First fake fall.
Yeah. Our K-State's first true home game is tomorrow, and it's supposed to be like 80. And usually it's in the upper 90s, low hundreds. So I'm thankful that it's going to be 20 degrees cooler.
Yes, although chances of rain the entire day. So
yeah.
hopefully that holds off.
Yeah, never fun. Hello, and thank you for everyone joining. There is quite a bit of news this week in the streaming space. I'll go ahead and get started with the deals, and we're going to cover the Fubo skinny bundle update as our second story, just to make sure to give people time to get in. But that dropped yesterday afternoon, I believe, late morning. So that was interesting to see, and as a preview, not something that at least I'm overly pleased with at the beginning, as I dug into a little bit more. So Sunday is the last day to get the YouTube TV offer that's been out there for a while. It's $50 a month for your first 3 months, so a savings of $100. Fubo is still offering their $30 off first month on all their traditional plans. DirecTV still with 35 to 40 off their signature plans, and on their genre packs, they've got My Sports is off $10 a month for the first 2 months, so a savings of $20. And My Entertainment and ESPN are $5 off a month for the first 2 months, so a $10 savings. So yeah, if you're holding off to get a deal to get closer to football season, there's some good deals to take advantage of. So the first story this week is there are some new Sunday ticket plans for NFL Sunday Ticket. First game is upon us, starting on Thursday with the Cowboys and the Eagles. And it's really the best option to get all out-of-market games on Sundays. And it's in its third season of the offering with YouTube. But as many know, the pricing leaves quite a bit to be desired. It's not a cheap option. Standard pricing is for new users is $276, or 8 payments of $34.50, or $318, or 8 payments of $39.75 monthly if you want Red Zone. And that's if you have YouTube TV. If you just go through YouTube Primetime channels, it's the same pricing. For returning customers, you're going to be paying more, $378, or 8 payments of $47.25 monthly, or $420, or 8 payments of $52.50 monthly with Red Zone. If you get it just standalone, it's $480, or 8 payments of $60 a month, or $522, or 8 payments of $65.25 monthly. So on Tuesday, YouTube TV announced a new month-to-month pricing plan for people that don't want to commit for the full season. They maybe just want the first few weeks or the final month. So pricing is as follows, and it's not cheap. It's $85 a month for all new users, or $95 if you want Red Zone. For returning customers, it's $115 or $125 monthly for those with YouTube TV, and $145 or $155 for those who want to get it standalone. Again, not cheap, and the plans automatically renew until the end of the regular season, so this is not just something that you just want to set it and forget it. If you're interested, if this is something you do, I would highly recommend being very purposeful with it. And while we would like to say that we like this move, we honestly really don't. Yes, it lets you to sign up at any time for a month's worth of games, and it's an incredibly small step towards not needing to commit for the entire season. It's just not worth getting, in our opinion. There's almost always going to be other options to get a game that is nowhere near as expensive. And what they really need to do, in our opinion, is the ability to get individual games and or teams. So like the Chargers,
Right.
Nicole being a Chargers fan, we would love, many people would like to see that, just to subscribe to a single team's games. But we don't see that happening at any point in the near future. They made some other changes to Sunday tickets that include what's being called a new local national combination in the multi-view that will be rolled out during the season. So from what's being reported by YouTube, it's not going to be available immediately starting this upcoming or next Sunday, but will be rolled out during the season. And per Front Office Sports, viewers will eventually be able to access all combinations of local and national games, which previously has not been the case. And somewhat related, for football fans, if you're interested in NFL Plus, it's offering a 20% discount on either the standard or premium plans, making them $40 or $80 a month respectively, or sorry, $40 or $80 respectively for the year. And this is a limited time offer. They're not saying when this offer runs out. So definitely something to keep in mind of. Again, Sunday ticket is not a cheap option. So yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that month-to-month plan just feels like an acknowledgement that maybe people don't have that full amount sitting around right now that they can drop, and so
Yeah.
trying to make the pain a little easier. But it's really not. I don't know. Still quite a big pill to swallow. I think.
It is. And yes, we did watch the K-State game in Dublin. Wish it would have gone another way.
But we didn't go to Dublin.
Yeah, we didn't.
If
we
the
didn't
question is, did we go to Dublin? No. And given how it turned out, I think we were glad we didn't.
Yes. Yeah.
It was hard enough to watch here from Omaha.
We were outcoached for sure.
But we are heading down tomorrow,
Yes.
and to see our first true home opener, and are
Yeah.
really excited about that.
Yeah, and being a Cowboys fan, and the news yesterday afternoon of Micah being traded, it's not been a good football week.
No.
in our home.
John needs this home game tomorrow.
Yes. Anyway, moving on to more important things.
What's more important
yes.
than K-State football?
Anyway, Fubo announced yesterday the details of their new skinny bundle. We've been waiting for some time to see that. They teased it, I believe it was going back as late as January, that this would be coming out, and that it would be coming out before the beginning of the football season. Seeing that college football started really last weekend and in force last night. And NFL starts on Thursday, this upcoming Thursday. They are waiting to the last minute. So they announced it, so it's going to be called Fubo Sports, and it's launching this upcoming Tuesday, so the day after Labor Day, on September 2nd. While we were somewhat intrigued when first seeing the price, that interest died fairly quickly. The bundle will cost $45.99 for the first month, and then the second month and thereafter will be $55.99. So they're giving you a $10 discount for that first month. They say that it will include 20 plus sports and broadcast networks. At launch, Fubo Sports will include local broadcast stations owned and operated by ABC, CBS, and Fox, so no NBC, plus additional affiliates in select markets, as well as the ACC Network, Big Ten Network, CBS Sports Network, ESPN, ESPN2, ESPN News, ESPNU, Fox News, Fox Sports 1 and 2, the Fubo Sports Network, ION, NFL Network, SEC Network, and the Tennis Channel. They say it will also offer authentication access to ESPN Unlimited, which we like. Per their press release, customers, and this is important to listen to here, customers in select markets will also receive local broadcast sports channels. Additional networks may be launched. So there are a few notable channels that are missing: NBC, USA, MLB and NHL networks, the Golf Channel, TBS, TNT, and other WBD networks. Then there is the other issue with Fubo Sports. It's not going to be available nationwide at launch. Per the Fubo press release, quote, Fubo will initially launch Fubo Sports in select markets, with further market availability expected, unquote. I reached out to Fubo to learn more about when it will become available nationwide and if there's a way to tell what markets will have it and what won't at launch on Tuesday. And they said, quote, Fubo Sports will be available in major markets with further market availability expected. We do not have a timeline to share, unquote. There was no other indication, no clarification given on that. And then, so in terms of features, the plan will include on-demand video access, unlimited DVR, and family share, so getting you screen, I believe there are 10 screens, and as well as some content in 4K. It will also include other features like a multi-view, catch up to live, game highlights, timeline markers, and more. David Gandler, the co-founder and CEO of Fubo, says, quote, at Fubo, we have always believed a streaming service must provide consumers with multiple, flexible, and more affordable content options, and that consumers should be able to subscribe to the content they choose. The launch of Fubo Sports will add another content tier for our broad portfolio, super serving passionate sports fans. With our signature pay TV streaming service alongside standalone sports offerings, pay-per-view live events, and now Fubo Sports, we will continue to offer consumers multiple competitively priced content options within the Fubo ecosystem, free of friction, unquote.
And I think your point there about competitively priced is a good point to pause, because we have a question in the chat. Is $56 per month for just sports channels a good price? Or obviously Fubo's CEO thinks it is, but... Yeah.
I would argue, given that you aren't going to have the Turner networks, and if you don't really need the Turner networks, the ESPN Unlimited Fox One bundle coming out in basically a month is going to be a better option for you, because it's going to be $16 cheaper. If you do need the Turner networks, then you're probably better suited towards getting Sling and being able to move back and forth. That's assuming that if you're in a market where Sling does not offer locals, you would be better served to do that if you can use an antenna, in my opinion. $56 with, and those channels missing, and even the My Sports package, even though it's $14 more expensive, all of those missing channels that Fubo doesn't have, it has. Yes, it's too pricey for our liking, but it has all of those. And if it's just something that you just want sports, say during football season, and then you cancel live service after football season in February, you're going to be likely better served.
And that price on that is $70, is that right?
It's $70, but it's, as I mentioned in the beginning, they're offering a promo right now where it's $10 off a month for the first 2 months.
So it saves you a
little.
little.
It'll be $60, and they offer a 5-day free trial.
I think if Fubo had kept the price at $45, it would have been more compelling. That would put it right in between the bundle and what were we discussing? It's $50. I guess at the start, if you subscribe to them separately, but being ESPN Unlimited and Fox One. But yeah. I think it kind of shows how there's no great one solution to get everything you want as a sports fan right now.
Yeah, there isn't. And so, I posted in the community yesterday, and very initially, I liked the pricing, and then just digging a little deeper, seeing, no, it's not necessarily all that it's cracked up to be. And so what we like about the skinny bundle is the pricing on the service, but we would put a major caveat with that, as Nicole was saying. We also like that it has access to ESPN Unlimited and other features that are available with other Fubo plans. It's also, from everything that has been reported and everything I have read, it's not going to force RSNs into the plan, which we like, because too many times them and DirecTV are just going to force the RSNs in. That's going to add $15 to $20 to your monthly cost. What we don't like It's not rolling out to all markets. We don't like that at all whatsoever. They've had time to do this. It's lack of inclusion of the Turner networks, NBC, or any of the Versant sports channels. So My Sports, if you remember when it launched earlier this year, it's similarly launched without being available nationwide and had fewer channels, but that didn't happen at the busiest time of the sports world. Mm-hmm. It didn't. It was in February, I think. Yeah. February, give or take a month there. And they added, and to their credit, they added missing channels and markets relatively quickly. It was within a couple of weeks before, I think within a week and a half, it was available nationwide. And at that time of year, you can stomach, most sports fans can stomach that. But when it's rolling out literally 2 days before the beginning of the NFL season and really a full week after the beginning of the college football season, that's just not really acceptable, because like My Sports, that was not rolled out in Omaha at initial launch. We had to wait a week or two before it was available to us. So yes, it's expensive, but it makes it a more compelling option. That is My Sports. And as I mentioned, My Sports from DirecTV includes all of the missing channels that is in the Fubo Sports plan. Overall, we're glad that it's finally here. It is a first step. I don't know if I would say a good first step, but it's a first step. But we're disappointed in the rollout, what it offers, and its missing networks. We're really hoping that they follow the DirecTV model of getting things up and running really quickly. And you know, there's no telling there what they're going to do. You may be better, and I'm also sort of surprised, given their connection with Hulu Live, that they weren't able to get the Turner networks somehow in there. And I think some people would have even been willing to pay like an additional $5 a month to get those. And for someone like us, Turner networks are going to be airing Big 12 games this year, starting this year, so it wouldn't work for someone like us. So we'll be going another route.
And doesn't it kind of feel a little bit like this is the result of venue failing? Now we have ESPN Unlimited, Fox One, and the Fubo Skinny Bundle. Yeah,
for sure. And like Lou said, you know, Sling Select could be a good option for someone. Really, even if you just want Sling, or you know, just sign up for Sling itself and, you know, bounce back and forth between the two. That is, you know, the compelling option or feature that Sling gives.
And speaking of Sling, that's a nice transition to our next story, which is about Sling being sued by Disney over its day passes. So we talked about this a while ago. Sling made some waves a few weeks ago when it announced a new subscription option called Passes by Sling. It lets you, just in case you haven't heard yet, it lets you sign up for 1 day, 1 weekend, or 1 week at $4.99, $9.99, or $14.99 respectively. The day pass makes content available for 24 hours. Weekend is Friday to Sunday, and then the week is for 7 days, all based on the time you subscribed. And the plans do not automatically renew. And it also lets you purchase any of the Sling add-ons for $1 on the day pass, $2 on the weekend pass, or $3 on the week pass. The one catch, as we stated, has been that it's only available on the orange plan, not blue. And we confirmed that with Sling, that they confirmed there's no telling if they'll roll it out for the blue plan. Well, it came out this past Tuesday that Disney is none too pleased with this decision, and it's suing Dish in the U.S. District Court of the Southern District of New York. Variety, this article we have on screen, said, a Disney rep said, quote, Sling TV's new offerings, which they made available without our knowledge or consent, violate the terms of our existing license agreement. We have asked the court to require Dish to comply with our deal when it distributes our programming, end quote. So apparently the carriage agreement that Dish and Dish/Sling has with Disney only allows for customers to get its channels through a monthly subscription. And this isn't surprising, given that the Orange plan only has one simultaneous stream. and it's the package that carries ESPN. It's clear that Disney is purposely limiting Dish in how it can distribute ESPN, so it shouldn't be a shock that Disney is suing over the issue. And a Sling rep told Variety in the same article, "We are aware of what has been filed and we believe Disney's lawsuit is meritless. We will vigorously defend our right to bring customers a viewing experience that fits their lives on their schedule and their terms. We're excited about our new pass subscriptions and the overwhelmingly positive response we've received from fans looking for simple, affordable ways to enjoy the content they love," end quote. So Variety is reporting that Disney contacted Dish after the passes were launched, asking them to remove their channels from the discounted offering, and Sling supposedly said no. The lawsuit doesn't include the discount plan Sling announced last week, which, as we were just talking about, Sling Select. And this is a new skinny bundle. It's coming out of the gate at $19.99 a month, and that offering includes 11 channels. It's a broad mix of some sports, lifestyle, and news, and the channels in that are Fox News, FS1, FX, Nat Geo, NFL Network, Lifetime Movie Network, Game Show Network, Grit, Heroes and Icons, MeTV, and Vice. Now, we understand that Disney isn't particularly happy with the passes, particularly with the launch of ESPN Unlimited. I personally think this is just them trying to reduce competition against ESPN Unlimited signups. And they're going to argue that the move by Dish competitively, as I said, goes right at their Unlimited. But what we will say is we don't like this move by Disney. It's arguable they have enough money. They're trying to restrict access to what they know is the channel that everyone wants. And that's not to mention that it's not consumer friendly. So
Disney's never consumer friendly.
It'll be telling to see who blinks first on this, given that Dish and Sling don't have authentication access to ESPN Unlimited. We don't see this move making that happen anytime sooner.
Yeah, and to Nicole's comment, I understand why Disney feels this way. This doesn't mean that I agree with it. I understand it because it's been clear from the get-go that, with Sling Orange only having one simultaneous stream versus 3 on Blue, I understand it. And I understand why they weren't happy that Sling reportedly just did this without notifying them. So I get that. No, it doesn't look good for Sling. So, as Nicole said, it'll be fascinating to see who blinks first in this. I'm hoping it'll be Disney, but I have zero confidence in that.
Especially at a time when, you see more reports coming out about the economy and maybe more people are just having less expendable money to spend on things like ESPN.
But Disney doesn't care
TV.
about that.
It would be nice to give people an option who can't afford the monthly or don't want to spend that amount right now, but maybe they do want it for just a weekend or one day to watch their team's biggest game or something. So it's unfortunate, and who knows, I'll be really interested to see if Disney comes out of the gate with passes to ESPN Unlimited if they win their lawsuit.
I don't think they will. And
well, they have so many options already. Why not make it even more confusing?
Yeah. And Paul brings up a great question on with EchoStar selling its Spectrum licenses for $23 billion to AT&T. That happened earlier this week. And toyed with discussing that, chose not to because it's more businessy. But that's a great question, and from what I read on it, they were saying it doesn't affect Sling and Dish. But I have to imagine that with the parent company having so much in debt, and I read that the company was planning on using this $23 billion to retire a lot of their debt, I would have to imagine that this would benefit Dish and Sling and put them in a better position, given that the parent company will, have less debt, significantly less debt. So hopefully that's the case, because I really like Sling and what they offer, and I think they're needed even more so in today's market space for streaming. So the next story we have is churn rate and ad-supported viewing both are up. And churn rate is a bane for streaming platforms, and ads bother many of us many of us want to reduce the number of ads that we see. And so most recent quarterly report from Samsung Ads came out this last week, I believe it was, highlighting these two areas plaguing both sides in the streaming space. And this report is one that we typically watch because Samsung TV is the dominant TV maker in the space, with like 35 to 40% of TVs in American homes being Samsung. The report had a few interesting findings to share. As we have discussed numerous times recently, Samsung is reporting that there's more viewership for streaming than there is traditional TV. And that's streaming viewing. Next year, they're saying we'll hit 2 hours and 35 minutes a day versus linear, which will be 229. And there's a chart there that Nicole has up on screen. They're saying by 2028, I believe, is that final year that the chart goes out to, just a continuing widening difference there. Other findings that despite the disdain that many of us have for ads and commercials, ad-supported viewing makes up 71% of all new subscriptions. And that's in the page 8. Yeah, and they're pulling that from Antenna, which I believe we have discussed. And the reasoning is simple. Ad-supported plans are cheaper for us, and they make the platforms more money versus non-ad-supported plans. And ad-supported streaming comprises 69% of streaming time. And then on another chart, churn also continues to be an issue for streaming platforms. Samsung found that for every active user, another 8 users have churned out, and has continued to grow over the past 18 months. And live sports, a couple pages over, does not solve churn. As we can see, Samsung found that among users who joined during an NFL season, churn was 2 times worse compared to those who were active users before that given NFL season. So while the NFL is raking in money and costing us more as consumers to watch, it's not the silver bullet necessarily that many platforms think it is. And one last finding is that while original shows are growing and something many people look for and platforms tout, more original content exacerbates, so it increases churn. And which makes sense, because not everyone's going to subscribe to every service to get all of the original shows. They're going to bounce from service to service. What do these numbers tell us? People love to stream, but they're concerned with pricing. Shocker. Streamers don't like the consistent price hikes and content moving around, particularly when it comes to live sports. And it also points to an issue platforms may feel they need to address in the future: churn. Streaming was sold to us as a way to get our favorite content at an affordable price with few ads and the ability to cancel when we want. So the latter two are no longer the case, and platforms are struggling with churn. And so it really makes me wonder, is there a point in which platforms begin to implement some kind of contracts or become more stringent with the easy ability to cancel when you wish? And so it'll be fascinating to watch, but it wouldn't be surprising for us to see in the near future at some point. And it also, as we discussed last week, it also makes me wonder when YouTube TV is going to roll out something that's
right.
Yeah, a skinny bundle of their own. And great question on Paramount and Peacock. So Peacock actually came out this week, and their premium plan is going to be available on Prime Video, which they've not done in the past. I think it'll be telling to see what happens with Peacock in terms of how the NBA performs for them, if they see a payoff there, and potential carriage disputes that happen in the future, because now these companies have their own standalone apps.
Yeah. And on that last comment, that's actually one of the next two stories that we have to cover. So I'll jump over as we're talking about ads. One of the reasons there's more of them is because the cost of sports rights keeps going up. And so we just wanted to discuss that quickly. This headline caught our eyes. Spending on sports rights is up 122% in the last decade. So that is, directly behind what's making it so challenging right now as a sports fan to watch all of your team's all your favorite teams' games. Reporting came out from Ampere Analysis that gives another reason why live sports have become so expensive. And let's see if I can get that chart up for y'all. Here we go. See if I can make that bigger for you guys. Okay, so Ampere reported that over the past decade, live sports rights spending increased from $13.8 billion in 2015 to $30.5 billion this year. We can thank the most recent NFL and NBA deals for that, and likely continue to get more expensive when the NFL is up for negotiations here in the next several years. Even more telling now is that live sports rights comprise 14% of total US TV revenue. That's an increase from 8% in 2015. So why do platforms spend so much money to get live sports?
Especially what we just discussed.
Yeah, well, there are a few key reasons why, including live sports is one of the few things that drives a lot of viewers. Live sports bring in a lot of ad revenue, and it helps platforms retain some subscribers that come for sports to consume their other content. Ampere reported that this trend is largely specific to the US, as spending in Europe on live sports rights is more muted. And so what does all of this mean for us as streamers? Live sports is going to continue to be more expensive. Unfortunately, NFL is going to drive up costs more, and that's going to cause other leagues to drive up costs more. The hope that skinny bundles will make it more affordable to get live sports is unfortunately not true. None of the bundles will give you everything that you want, and it's going to mean you have to continue to pick and choose what you want and be satisfied without getting everything. It'll also be interesting to see if we do reach an inflection point where leagues aren't able to get as much when shopping their product to platforms, and something we'll have to keep watching. How streaming platforms might be able to push back, and I think it's also going to come down to consumers. At what point do we stop paying the higher and higher price tags? Because they're just going to keep, they being the media companies, are just going to keep, and sports leagues, looking for that ceiling. They'll keep going up till they find it.
And it's voting with your wallet is really what it is. A few good questions in the chats. Do you think that Fox used football to get a quick resolution with YouTube TV? I absolutely do think that was part of it, because the NFL wants, to be in as many homes as possible. So I absolutely think that was part of it. And do you think ESPN will be available on Prime channels? I honestly don't think it will. I think it only will if their subscriber numbers are quite a bit lower than what they're shooting for, because I see Disney and Prime Video sort of as competitors, trying to collect as much as they can in one spot. So I don't think that will happen, at least at the outset.
Well, speaking of that deal, why don't we cover that really quick? As John was just referencing, so YouTube TV and Fox were in a carriage dispute. They did quickly reach a deal. It appeared, the deadline for a deal was originally set to expire at 5 p.m. Eastern on Wednesday, and it appeared like there was going to be a dispute. The two sides came together for what they said was a short-term agreement. There were minimal details on that, and then, that was obviously going to be an issue. It happening right before the football season was set to begin. Thankfully, it came out last night that the two companies came to a long-term agreement, so there will be no loss of channels. And we have a message there from YouTube about that, saying they've been able to reach a long-term deal. But just significant to say what we could have missed out on was Fox, FS1, FS2, Big Ten Network, Fox Deportes, Fox News, Fox Soccer Plus, Fox Soul, Fox Weather, Fox Business, all the Fox channels basically would have been impacted. Authentication access to Fox One would have been impacted. And this all would potentially impact not just NFL games, but also college football games and potentially the MLB playoffs, depending on how long it stretched. So YouTube TV said, as you can see here, we're happy to share we've reached an agreement with Fox to keep their content on YouTube TV, preserve the value of our service for subscribers, and offer more flexibility for in the future. And so thankfully, there isn't going to be any blackout of channels, especially considering how contentious the talks became. But it does make us wonder, are we going to see any price changes as a result of all this in the future?
They often, with carriage disputes, they often result in a price hike in the not too distant future. And, YouTube TV did have one within the last year that went over like a lead balloon. But it still would not surprise me to see some sort of price hike happen or be in the offing in the near future. And I think, again, really just begs the question of when YouTube TV are they going to... I saw an article this week that was arguing that YouTube TV has basically just become cable, just as bad as cable. And I think they really need to offer some kind of lower tier option.
Yeah, and I think, they, for so long, they kept their prices lower, and I think, Google was funding them, so they had really deep pockets. They were probably taking a loss for many years, and they were okay with that because they wanted to build up their subscriber base. Well, now that they have it, they're raising prices, so they need to take that next step and be a little more aligned with what the competitors are doing, like DirecTV with their different channel packages, and Fubo with its skinny bundle, because their interface is still really good. A lot of people like it. So if they have arrived and they're mature, they need to go ahead and start offering some different options to people.
And some great questions. There's been no report on the free trial for Fubo, but for those Fubo Sports, but they offer free trial for all of their other things. I would anticipate them offering a free trial. Similar with Fox One access. There was no mention of it, but I know through Fubo they're offering Fox One authentication, so I would assume that would be the case given that they're carrying a number of the Fox channels. And I agree with Larry that if Jones Cowboys Netflix show right now, in the episode we watched last night, was talking about how in the 90s when Jerry started negotiating and getting deals outside of the revenue sharing. And it can I think a lot of it can really go back to that, because he was going to try and make as much money as he can for himself, and I think that just became the prevailing sentiment. And certainly not to blame him entirely, but I think that was a key.
What was that stat you were telling me this morning about what the Cowboys are valued at now?
Well, it just came out yesterday. Forbes valued them at just over $13 billion. And he bought the team for $130 million, I think it was.
And you said it was so much percentage more than any of the other NFL.
It was on ESPN this morning. They said 24% more valuable than the next closest NFL team.
Yeah, and I think you could also look at college football and what ESPN has done, the way it's pumping money in there and driving up the cost for us to watch it. And I would argue realigning conferences and everything just after money. I don't like it, but I'll get off my soapbox.
Well, thank you everyone for sticking around a bit longer with us today. If you're a football fan, it really starts this weekend, so enjoy that, and we will plan on being here next Friday.
Yep, go Cats!
Yes, have a great weekend, everyone.